Jody chosen. Heaven is about to interrupt earth. It will confirm what you've been sensing. There is a moment in time when heaven refuses to remain silent, and that moment is now. You have not been imagining the stirring in your spirit, the weightless feeling that something bigger is drawing near. That gentle pressure, that quiet urgency, that sacred unrest is heaven knocking, preparing to interrupt everything you've known. God does not alert the world before he moves. He whispers to his chosen. You, the one who has been walking by faith, sensing a divine convergence no one else could see, you were not wrong. Heaven is about to touch earth, and when it does, the unseen will erupt into reality. The shift you felt was the signal. What you've dreamed in the stillness is about to break forth in the open. Your life, your path, your calling, it is no longer waiting. The confirmation is coming, and when it arrives, nothing will remain as it was. Prepare yourself. You are not witnessing change. You are the chosen vessel through which heaven is breaking in. The inner knowing was never wrong. You were shown the end before the beginning. ****. There comes a time when what you've silently carried in your spirit demands to be acknowledged in the physical world. Not because you finally proved yourself worthy, but because heaven has always known who you are and what you were created to become. You were not given random dreams, strange visions, or sudden spiritual sensitivities by accident. You were entrusted with evidence of what was already decided in the heavens before time wrapped itself around you. That sense you've had lately, that feeling something is coming, that something sacred is aligning, has been heaven's secret rhythm pulsing through your life, waiting for the right moment to break into form. You have not been delusional. You have been awakened. What you've sensed in dreams, what you've carried in quiet faith when everyone else saw nothing, it's about to meet you in time. You have been walking with the end inside you this entire time. The end of your waiting, the end of your wilderness, the end of confusion, and what feels like interruption is actually divine completion, because God always shows his chosen the end before he walks them through the process. The vision he placed inside your heart was the finish line, not the starting point. Everything you've endured, every delay, every heartbreak, every door that slammed shut, was not a denial of your promise, but a refinement of your perception. God does not bring the fulfillment to the surface until the chosen one begins to trust what was planted within them in the dark. You are not a product of your environment. You are a product of your imagination, touched by divinity, shaped in silence, and assigned for a purpose far greater than your present understanding. That sense that something is about to happen has never been anxiety. It's been spiritual alignment. What you feel in the atmosphere now is confirmation, not confusion. The Spirit has been trying to prepare you for an emergence, not warn you of an ending. That restlessness inside of you is holy. It is the echo of what God already completed in the invisible realm. Heaven is only waiting on the moment your belief aligns with its blueprint. And now that moment has arrived. The reason you couldn't explain it, the reason people thought you were too deep or too intense, is because God didn't tell them what he told you. He didn't show them the dream. He didn't give them the vision. He chose you. That's why the pressure has been increasing. That's why you've been feeling both isolated and expectant. It's the tension between who you were and who you are becoming. You've been cocooned in a divine contradiction, living in the now while being prepared for the next, but the contradiction is coming to an end. The transition is over. What you've been sensing is not a maybe, it's a certainty. Heaven does not tease. It reveals only what it intends to manifest, and since God allowed you to see it, to feel it, to believe it, it means he intends to deliver it. Your only job is to remain faithful to what you've seen. Faithful to the whispers, faithful to the inner knowing. You've walked through shadows, not because you were cursed, but because the light within you was too sacred to be exposed prematurely. God hid you. He wrapped you in invisibility. He shielded your destiny until you could carry the weight of it without being broken by the world's rejection or crushed by the need for approval. That inner knowing you've carried was your secret conversation with God. And now the veil is lifting. What was kept private is being made public. What was developed in the spirit will now unfold in the flesh. The world will soon witness what your soul already knows. Your waiting wasn't wasted, it was worship. Your patience wasn't passive, it was prophetic. You weren't just waiting on a moment, you were aligning with the movement of heaven on earth. And when heaven interrupts earth, it doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't consult with your enemies, your past, or your fears. It breaks in, it crashes timelines, it overrides logic, and it confirms what your spirit has known all along, that you were marked for this, that you were destined to rise when others expected you to remain silent, that you were sent as a signal, a living prophecy, a divine disruption to the systems that never saw you coming. Everything that didn't work out before now was a setup for the fullness of what's about to break open. The relationships that didn't last, the jobs that fell through, the plans that unraveled, they were not losses. They were heaven clearing the stage. You were never meant to perform for the world. You were meant to manifest the word. This moment, this holy interruption, is not random. It is the divine collision between your preparation and God's proclamation. You are stepping into what was already written. That is why your spirit has been on edge. That is why you've been waking up at strange hours, sensing a shift, feeling the wind of change before anything moved in the natural. You are not waiting on a miracle, you are becoming one. You are the proof of God's promise wrapped in human form. You were never forgotten, you were being formed, and now the forming is finished. The season of sensing is transitioning into a season of seeing, and what you see will not be foreign. It will feel familiar, because you saw it first in your spirit. You felt it in your prayers. You dreamed it when you had nothing but hope. Do not shrink now. Do not second. Guess what heaven has confirmed through years of inner fire. The interruption you've felt is actually the invitation. The pressure you've felt is actually the portal. You are not breaking down. You are breaking through. The divine timeline is unfolding, and you are standing on the threshold. The interruption has begun, not to destroy, but to reveal. And when it is revealed, you will understand why it took this long, why you had to walk through certain valleys, why you had to lose certain people, why your name had to be overlooked until the appointed time. Heaven does not rush. Heaven waits for readiness, and you, chosen one, are ready. So let your inner knowing rise. Let the fire in your bones testify. Let the dreams you buried come back to life. Heaven is not coming to visit. It is coming to dwell. And you are the temple, you are the conduit, you are the bridge between realms. The promise is real, the vision is near, and the confirmation is not coming from the outside. It is echoing from within. Believe it, embrace it, live it, because heaven has already spoken, and earth is about to catch up. The divine disruption is not chaos, it's the birthplace of alignment. When everything familiar begins to feel foreign, and the rhythms of your life no longer make sense, you must understand, this is not destruction, it is divine disruption. It is the fingerprint of heaven moving across the surface of your reality, breaking the structures that no longer serve your calling. The chaos you feel isn't confusion, it's clarity shattering the illusions you once called safety. You are not being punished, you are being positioned, because before God establishes something eternal, he first removes what is temporary. The shaking you feel, the uncertainty that haunts your steps, is heaven's way of making room. Something sacred is arriving, and your spirit knew it before your circumstances ever reflected it. That inner disturbance, that sacred agitation, is a signal that the divine blueprint of your life is unfolding, even if it looks like everything is falling apart. You are not losing control, you are being returned to your original design. Heaven never operates on human comfort. It operates on purpose, and right now, purpose is overriding patterns. Destiny is overriding delay. You may look around and see closed doors, canceled plans, and broken relationships, but heaven never closes without opening. God never subtracts without the intention of multiplication. The disruption is heaven's version of construction. It tears down what was built on human logic to establish what was imagined by divine vision. You were never meant to fit where you settled, and so what feels like rejection is really redirection. What you thought was the end was actually the moment your true life began. If you felt exiled from what once felt like home, it's because your soul has outgrown the walls that once comforted it. Divine disruption has come to evict you from smallness. It has come to end your participation in anything that does not reflect your spiritual identity. The dismantling is mercy in disguise. God only breaks what he plans to rebuild in glory. And if your life feels like it's being turned upside down, take heart. Heaven is laying the foundation right side up. Disruption is the only way destiny becomes visible. As long as everything remains predictable, your spirit remains asleep. But when the ground beneath your feet begins to tremble, when the familiar falls away, your divine instincts awaken. The still voice grows louder, the vision becomes clearer. You stop depending on the world for validation and begin listening to the whisper that's been guiding you all along. That's what disruption does. It returns you to the voice you once ignored. It reconnects you with the God who spoke before the storm. And even now, the storm that's swirling around your life is not there to drown you. It's there to deliver you. Your spirit knew this before your mind could comprehend it. That's why you've felt uneasy in places that once gave you peace. It's not because they changed, it's because you did. The assignment has evolved. This season has shifted, and disruption has arrived to escort you into alignment with who you truly are. Heaven never interrupts just for the sake of drama. It intervenes when destiny is near. What you thought was delay was actually protection. What you called unanswered prayer was divine timing at work. If God had answered when you first asked, you would have received it in immaturity. But now the disruption has matured you. It has stripped away the excess, the distractions, the illusions. And now you stand raw but ready, uncertain but open, broken but positioned. You are no longer attached to the outcome. You are surrendered to the source. That is the posture heaven has been waiting for. The moment when you let go of control and lean fully into the unfolding. This is where miracles are born, not in predictable schedules, but in divine surprises. Heaven interrupts what you've settled for to deliver what you were created for. And do not be fooled by appearances. Disruption often disguises itself as loss. It may look like separation, isolation, or even betrayal. But underneath every detour is divine design. Some people had to leave. Some situations had to collapse, not because you were weak, but because they could not carry the weight of where God is taking you. The divine disruption has no intention of returning you to normal. It has come to initiate transformation. The discomfort you feel is the stretching of your soul as it expands to hold the new thing God is birthing through you, and birth is always messy. It comes with blood, sweat, pain, and breathlessness. But when it's over, something eternal has entered the world. That's what your life is right now, a spiritual labor. You are being delivered into destiny, so stop mourning the things that left. Stop trying to put back together what God allowed to fall apart. The divine disruption is not a mistake, it's a miracle in motion. What feels like a collapse is actually a resurrection. God tears down what no longer carries life so that resurrection power can enter the scene. You are not being diminished, you are being redirected toward your expansion. This is a holy reset, a divine reset. Heaven is reorganizing your story to align with the dream God never forgot. You may have given up on it, but he didn't. And now every disruption is pushing you back on course. Every delay is recalibrating your inner compass. Every silence is an invitation to hear the divine voice more clearly. You are not alone in this chaos. You are surrounded by divine choreography. And soon what now seems scattered will reveal itself as sacred sequence. The people around you may not understand. That's okay. Disruption isn't designed for crowds. It's designed for calling. You're not being broken for nothing. You're being opened for something. This is the season where heaven starts using you, not just saving you. And the first sign that you're stepping into your real assignment is that everything you thought you needed starts falling away. Let it all fall. The only thing that will remain is what was eternally written. You won't have to force anything in this season. You won't have to beg for clarity. Everything that belongs to your future will begin to call you. Divine disruption clears the noise so that only the true echoes remain, and when you follow the echoes of your spirit, you will find heaven's footprints waiting for you. So breathe deep. This is not the end of the story. It's the moment the script changes. The disruption is not punishment, it's prophecy. It's proof that heaven has stepped in, and when heaven interrupts earth, nothing stays the same. Your life is being rewritten in real time, according to a script that was etched in eternity. You may not see the full picture yet, but trust the author. The one who began this good work in you is faithful to complete it, and even now, in the middle of the shaking, you are not being undone, you are being unveiled. This is what alignment feels like, wild, unpredictable, divine, sacred, and soon undeniable, because when heaven disrupts, earth must yield, and when you yield to the process, the promise manifests in ways that defy every natural expectation. The divine disruption is here, and it's carrying your breakthrough in its wings. You are always the signal, not the seeker. There comes a moment in the life of every chosen one when they realize they were never meant to chase signs, they were meant to be the sign. You were not created to wander endlessly looking for confirmation outside of yourself. The confirmation is within you, that sense you've had, that deep, unshakable knowing that refuses to die no matter how much silence surrounds it, was never something you imagined. It is the echo of heaven resounding through your being, placed there long before you ever took your first breath. And now, in this divine hour, God is bringing forth the revelation that you were not wandering in the dark, you were being lit from the inside out. You have not been lost, you have been hidden, not abandoned, but positioned. All this time you weren't looking for a move of God, you were the move. And everything around you is starting to shift, not because you begged for it, but because your presence is disrupting the atmosphere with heaven's assignment. You are the signal the earth has been waiting for. The message made flesh, the walking prophecy. This is why you've been misunderstood, isolated, overlooked. You were never supposed to blend in. You were meant to announce something, that deep weight you feel. It's not depression, it's divine density. You carry something eternal, and what you've been sensing isn't anxiety. It's arrival, the arrival of purpose, of timing, of manifestation. You are not behind. You are exactly on time, because time is bowing to your alignment. All along, you thought you were waiting on God, but God was waiting on you to wake up to what you already are. This is the hour of awakening, where the chosen ones remember that they were chosen not to receive light, but to be it. You are not a seeker, you are the signal. You don't need a sign, you are the sign. Heaven's movements are subtle, but they are seismic in impact, and right now, whether or not the world can perceive it, something is shifting because you are shifting. Your inner world has been under intense construction. Your spirit has been stretched, purified, and fortified. Your thoughts have been rewired to stop waiting for validation and instead declare vision. That is no small transformation. That is the spiritual equivalent of tectonic plates realigning. The earth beneath your feet is rearranging to make room for what you're about to carry. And that pressure you felt, the internal urgency, the sense that something has to break soon, is the countdown to your unveiling, not because of ego, not because of self-glorification, but because heaven made a decree through your very existence. You are not here to be seen, you are here to be revealed, and once you are, the frequency you carry will begin to call things into place with precision and divine authority. You're not confused, you're just too big for your current space. That's what the stretching has been. That's why people around you have pulled away or grown uncomfortable. You are disrupting their familiar. You are changing spiritual climates. You are unsettling things that were dormant and waking things that were dead. And this is not accidental. You are a vessel with vibration. The spirit within you is broadcasting divine intention. Every room you walk into is receiving a signal. Every conversation you have carries a hidden vibration. And those who are spiritually alive feel it. That's why some are drawn to you and others repel you. Not everyone can handle the frequency of a chosen one who finally knows who they are. And you finally reached the point of remembrance. Not learning, remembering that you are not here to get a word from someone else. You are the word, the message heaven released into the earth in human form. This revelation comes with both weight and warfare. The enemy doesn't attack what is powerless, he attacks what is potent. And you, beloved, are carrying power in its purest, most raw form, not the power of position or popularity, but the power of divine awareness. The moment you stopped doubting yourself, the moment you stopped begging for signs and started becoming one, that's when all of hell took notice, because a chosen one who knows who they are is a threat to every system of limitation. You are no longer dependent on outer circumstances to validate your inner vision. You walk by revelation now. You live by spirit, not sight. That makes you unstoppable, and it terrifies the realms of darkness. That is why resistance increased the moment you aligned. That is why warfare intensified the moment you obeyed. But don't be shaken. This is not punishment. It is proof. The signal is working. The shift is happening. The call has been answered. There are no more coincidences now. Every encounter is divine. Every delay is strategic. Every detour is alignment. You are not wandering aimlessly. You are following the current of your spirit, which is being led by the Spirit of God. That's why you've lost interest in meaningless distractions. That's why you no longer tolerate half-hearted conversations or shallow connections. Your frequency has changed. Your signal is stronger. You don't need to yell. Your very being is announcing something sacred. You are calling forth destiny with your presence, and everything that doesn't resonate with the new frequency of your soul must either rise to meet it or fall away in silence. Do not mourn the loss. Celebrate the clarity. Heaven is editing your circle to protect your assignment. You've become a portal now, a living, breathing intersection between heaven and earth. Miracles will be drawn to you, not because you chase them, but because you are aligned with their source. Provision will find you, purpose will open to you, not because you're striving, but because you're resting in who you were always meant to be. The chosen don't force, they flow. You're learning to move with divine ease. You're no longer wrestling for identity. You've found your frequency, and now the earth must respond. The shift in your atmosphere is not about mood, it's about manifestation. Everything you've carried in the spirit is being drawn into form. And when it arrives, you won't be shocked, because your spirit has already lived it 1,000 times. You have been the signal all along. When you prayed, heaven moved. When you cried, heaven counted every tear. When you believed, even in silence, the earth began preparing for your promise. You are the walking answer to generations of intercession. You are the result of ancient promises whispered through bloodlines and encoded into DNA. This is deeper than you. Your emergence is part of a much greater design. And now the time of revealing is upon you, not to impress the world, but to fulfill what was written. You will not need to explain yourself. You will not need to prove your anointing. What is real proves itself through fruit. What is of God speaks through results, and you chosen one, you are about to bear fruit that will silence every doubt, shame every critic, and glorify the God who authored your journey. So rise, not with arrogance, but with sacred awareness. You were never meant to chase signs. You were always meant to be one. Every room you enter, every space you occupy, every word you release, carries the vibration of the kingdom. You don't need to announce it. You are the announcement, the evidence, the reflection of something eternal breaking into time. So let the earth respond to what heaven has already declared. The signal has been activated. And the chosen one is no longer hidden. When heaven confirms what you felt, everything will move all at once. There is a divine tension that every chosen one must live with before the breakthrough. A season where you sense everything shifting, but nothing has visibly moved. You feel pregnant with a promise, yet the world around you refuses to acknowledge it. That space between revelation and manifestation is sacred. It is the proving ground of faith, and the longer you've waited, the more intense the inner knowing has grown. You've heard God in the silence. You've sensed movement when nothing made sense. You've discerned the spiritual winds even when life stood still. And now, after the waiting, the stretching, the silence, heaven is preparing to confirm what you've carried. Not slowly, not in fragments, but all at once. When the divine signal is given, when the invisible becomes visible, everything will move in perfect synchronization. Doors that have been locked for years will open without effort. People you've never met will be drawn to you as if they've always known you. Delayed resources will rush in as though time is making up for what it stole, because when God confirms a season, he doesn't drip, he floods. What you've felt in your bones, what's been whispering in your dreams, is not fantasy. It's foreknowledge. It's spiritual intelligence trying to prepare you for an atmosphere that your eyes cannot yet see. The wait has not been punishment, it's been alignment. God has been weaving circumstances, people, timing, and opportunities in divine sequence so that when the appointed hour comes, your life will become a symphony of sudden shifts. Don't mistake the silence of heaven for absence. It's the stillness before a holy avalanche, and the moment that confirmation comes, the moment heaven interrupts earth, what you've sensed will become undeniable. Every doubt will be answered, every delay will be justified, every tear will become a seed that births joy. You are closer than you think, and the reason the warfare intensified recently is because the release is not trickling down, it's being poured out. God does not confirm lightly. When he moves the entire story. You've been walking through what seemed like contradictions, promises that didn't match your reality, prophetic words that left you wondering when, or how, or if. But contradictions are often the final step before confirmation. The tension between what you believe and what you see forces you to deepen your trust. It strengthens the inner witness until no outer noise can break it. That is the hidden blessing of the wait. It forced you to walk by faith, not by sight. And now, because your faith has matured, your eyes are about to see what your spirit has always known. The signs are everywhere. The atmosphere around you has become pregnant with possibility. The people leaving, the environments shifting, the unexpected changes. These are not random, they are divine contractions. The earth is groaning because heaven is about to birth what you've carried in secret. And once it comes, it will not come in stages. It will come in waves. You won't need to fight for it. You won't need to convince anyone. Divine confirmation is self-authenticating. It comes with a weight of glory that silences critics and shuts the mouths of doubters. The people who ignored you will suddenly remember you. The doors that rejected you will reopen without apology. The very places you were disqualified from will seek your voice, your gift, your presence. Because when heaven confirms, man can no longer deny, and everything you went through, every trial, every setback, every hidden battle, will serve as evidence that God had his hand on you all along. This is not a reward for surviving. It's the unveiling of what was always yours. You were chosen for this long before you were qualified for it. You didn't earn it by perfection. You were entrusted with it by promise, and the moment of confirmation will reveal what God had written about you before anyone had an opinion. This is why you've had to walk alone at times, why you've had to quiet your own doubts when no one else could understand your burden. You were carrying the future. You were living inside a moment that hadn't arrived yet. And the world wasn't ready to see it. But that's not your concern. What heaven has decided, earth must receive, and now the decision has been made, the signal has been released, and the next time something shifts, it won't be minor. It will be monumental. What once took years will take days. What once felt impossible will feel natural, and what once was only a vision will become your visible reality, because confirmation from God is not just proof its power. It changes everything it touches. It validates, accelerates, and elevates, and when it comes, you will recognize it, not because it looks the way you expected, but because it feels like what you always knew. Don't fear the speed of it. Don't resist the momentum. When heaven moves, it doesn't wait for comfort zones to catch up. It drags you into divine fulfillment, and the version of you that emerges will be barely recognizable to those who only knew your wilderness. You are stepping into a space that matches your inner world. That's why you've been feeling the disconnect lately. The life you've been living is too small for the vision you carry. The confirmation is coming to match your internal revelation with external manifestation. And when it happens, people will ask, how did this all come together so fast? They won't understand the years you spent in silence, the nights you prayed with no response, the mornings you showed up without evidence. But heaven understood, heaven saw, and heaven has decided it's time, so let go of your fear, let go of your old timeline, let go of trying to figure it all out. The confirmation will not require your manipulation. It will only require your yes. Yes to the flow, yes to the shift, yes to the weight of glory that is about to rest on your life. The divine interruption is coming not to confuse you, but to confirm you. What you've been sensing will no longer be a mystery. It will be a movement, a holy moment that redefines everything around you. The people connected to you will rise. The environments around you will adjust. The very atmosphere will testify that God's hand is on you, because when heaven confirms, even the earth must yield. Every natural law, every delay, every wall must bow to the divine decree, and you won't have to explain yourself. You'll just walk in it. That's the power of divine confirmation. It doesn't need an introduction. It introduces you. It announces what God has concealed. It reveals what God has refined, and it accelerates what God has appointed. Your only job now is to remain positioned, to stay rooted in what you know, to trust the timing you don't control. The days of spiritual sensing are merging into the days of supernatural seeing. You will behold what you believe, and once you do, you'll understand why it had to take this long, why it had to be this hard, why you had to walk the narrow path, because what's coming is weighty, and only the tested can carry it. The moment is near. The shift is imminent. The confirmation is on the horizon. Heaven is about to interrupt earth, not gently, but undeniably, and when it happens, your entire life will pivot into purpose. There will be no more wondering. No more hoping, no more needing outside signs, because you will be living inside the manifestation, and that's when you'll finally say, "This is it. This is what I've been sensing all along." So be ready, not for a slow unfolding, but for a sudden alignment. When God confirms it, nothing will remain the same, and you will step into your divine place, not as one who stumbled into favor, but as one who was always marked for it. This is the moment you were born for. Don't shrink. Rise. There comes a moment in the life of the chosen when hesitation becomes disobedience, when shrinking back is no longer humility but sabotage, when playing small is not noble but a rejection of heaven's assignment. And that moment for you is now. The inner whispers, the divine stirrings, the mounting restlessness, they are all pointing to one truth. This is the moment you were born for. Not the one you waited for, not the one you imagined in vague dreams, but the one divinely appointed, marked by heaven, and written in the fabric of your spirit before time began. Everything that tried to break you, delay you, silence you, bury you, was sent to distract you from this hour, but it failed. You survived the storm, you outlived the lie, you endured the pressure, and now the heavens are roaring with one message for you. Rise, not with apology, not with fear, not with half-commitment, but with holy confidence, full fire, and fearless obedience, because when a chosen one rises, all of creation shifts, entire atmospheres change, spiritual climates bow, and destinies realign. You were never meant to blend into the background of life. That discomfort you've carried, the feeling that you were never like the others, is not a flaw, it's a signal. You've always been set apart, even when you tried to conform. The crowd never fit, the stage never satisfied. The approval of people never filled you. Why? Because you weren't created to serve man's applause. You were built to release heaven's decree, and that decree is about to erupt from your life like a tidal wave. This is not the time to second guess yourself. It's not the time to delay. Everything you've been sensing, the urgency, the spiritual pressure, the deep conviction that you were made for more is heaven's invitation to stop waiting and start walking. You don't need another sign. You are the sign. You don't need to seek another word. You are the word in motion. You've carried the weight of the unseen long enough. It's time to move in the authority of the revealed. The battle you've faced leading up to this moment was not coincidental. It was preparation. It was sacred training. The betrayals taught you discernment. The delays taught you patience. The loneliness taught you to hear the voice of God without interference. And now those very battles have qualified you for what you're stepping into. You are no longer the version of you that questioned everything. You are no longer the person that needed external approval to believe what God showed you in private. The old you was crushed in the wilderness. The new you is emerging in glory. You are not rising because the conditions are perfect. You are rising because obedience cannot wait. The shift isn't coming. It's already here. And you must move with it. Those who hesitate will miss it. But those who move, those who dare to trust the voice they heard in secret, will walk into divine synchronization. Time will align. People will appear. Opportunities will unlock. Not because you forced it, but because you obeyed. Don't let fear convince you that you're not ready. The illusion of unreadiness is the enemy's last weapon before manifestation. But the truth is, you've already been prepared, you've already been called, and the call is not optional. It's sacred. When God marks someone, he equips them with exactly what they need, not more, not less. But enough, and you, chosen one, have enough faith to walk through the fire, enough strength to carry the mantle, enough courage to speak when others are silent, enough love to heal what was broken, enough wisdom to lead what's next. Don't wait for the world to confirm you, God already did. Don't shrink to make others comfortable. Your expansion is the evidence of divine presence. The people who are meant to walk with you will rise with you. The rest will fall away, and that's not rejection, it's redirection. This moment is about alignment, not attachment. You are not behind, you are not late. You are arriving exactly when the world needs what you carry. That stirring inside your bones, that fire that won't let you rest, that's divine timing pulsing through your soul. The vision isn't random, it's remembered. You're remembering who you were before the world told you who you should be. You're remembering the dreams you buried because they seemed too big. You're remembering the promise God whispered before anyone believed in you, and now that memory is activating power, power not to impress but to transform, power not to manipulate but to manifest. This is why the warfare was so great, because the calling is even greater, and heaven has decided it's your turn to rise. You will not rise by striving, you will rise by surrender. Not by performance but by permission, not by effort but by alignment. You don't need to chase what's already chasing you. When heaven releases a green light, earth cannot stop it. When God says now, no man can say later. You've passed the test of obscurity. You've endured the silence of preparation, and now the time of release has come. You are not stepping into the spotlight. You're stepping into assignment. There is a difference. This isn't about fame. It's about function. You were built to carry fire, to break chains, to disrupt systems, to ignite generations. And when you rise, you don't just rise for you. You rise for every person connected to your destiny. For every voice you will awaken, for every soul you will lift, for every battle you will win on behalf of someone too weary to fight. Let your life prophesy, let your obedience speak. Let your posture declare to the heavens, I am ready. I am ready to go where you lead. I am ready to say what others are afraid to say. I am ready to break what others settled for. I am ready to be what I was born to be. And once you say yes to that assignment, heaven will release everything required. The provision will come, the connections will form, the opportunities will align. Why? Because purpose attracts power, and your purpose is magnetic in this moment. Don't let fear dull your frequency. Don't let hesitation dilute your anointing. Don't let comparison steal your confidence. There is no one else who can do what you were born to do. You are not a duplicate. You are a divine original. Heaven wrote your blueprint with fire, and now earth must witness what heaven authored. The stage of manifestation has been set. The spiritual winds have shifted. The veil between seen and unseen is thin, and those who carry fire must rise now, not later. The earth is groaning for sons and daughters to awaken. Creation is crying out for those who know who they are. This is not about waiting for permission. This is about stepping into prophetic identity. You were not made for survival. You were made for dominion. Dominion over fear, dominion over lack, dominion over silence, dominion over generational bondage. And the moment you rise, everything around you will be confronted with truth. Some will celebrate, some will resist. But none will ignore you, because when a chosen one rises, the spiritual realm takes notice, light breaks through, atmospheres change, and purpose comes alive. So don't shrink, don't second, guess, don't retreat. The hour has come. This is the moment you were born for, and though it comes with pressure, it also comes with power. Though it comes with visibility, it also comes with divine covering. Heaven never sends without shielding. You are protected, you are equipped, you are enough, and now you must rise, because everything is waiting on your yes. Your rise is not about ego, it's about impact. Your rise is not about arrival, it's about awakening. And when you rise, the heavens will rejoice, the earth will respond, and your soul will finally say, this is why I was born.